The wind howled through the skeletal remains of the battlefield, carrying the scent of scorched metal and ionized air. Cale pressed his back against the twisted wreckage of a fallen Union dropship, his breath shallow, his claws digging into the dirt. His blue skin, streaked with ash and blood, blended into the shadows. Alone. The word echoed in his mind like a curse. His own people had left him behind, another casualty in a war they no longer cared to fight. The Galactic Union had pulled out, their ships vanishing into the void, leaving the humans to die. And now, the Zenther were hunting the survivors. A distant thrum vibrated through the ground. Hover tanks. Cale's pulse spiked. He wasn't ready to die. Not like this. Move it, Jax. We ain't got all damn day. The voice was rough, human. Cale stiffened. Through a crack in the wreckage, he saw them, 3 figures in scavenged armor, their faces obscured by rebreathers. They moved like predators, swift and efficient, looting the dead. One, a broad-shouldered man with a plasma rifle slung across his back, kicked over a broken drone. "Nothing here but scrap and corpses," muttered the smallest of them, a woman with a cybernetic eye. "Then we check the next ridge," the leader growled. "Zent'll be crawling this place soon." Cale's muscles coiled. If they found him, they'd either kill him or sell him out. But staying meant the Zenther would tear him apart. A decision. Now. He shifted, just enough for a loose piece of metal to clatter. All 3 humans snapped toward the sound, weapons raised. "The hell?" Cale burst from cover, sprinting for the nearest cover, a collapsed artillery emplacement. "Shit. Contact." A plasma bolt seared past his shoulder. He dove behind a shattered barricade, heart hammering. "Hold fire!" the leader barked. "It's a damn kid." Silence. Then cautious footstep. Cale bared his fangs, gripping a shard of metal like a blade. If they came closer, he'd make them regret it. A shadow fell over him. The human leader stood there, rifle lowered, helmet visor raised. Dark eyes studied him, not with pity, but calculation. "Zorathian," the man muttered. "Thought your kind were all dead." Cale hissed. "Leave. Or fight." His voice was rough, the human words unfamiliar on his tongue. The man snorted. "Feisty little bastard, ain't ya?" He glanced back at his crew. "We got Zenther on our asses and a refugee with a death wish." "Perfect." The woman crouched beside him. "He's wounded. Look at his side." Cale flinched as she pointed. The gash from a Zenther blade still burned, barely scabbed over. "We ain't a damn med team, Lyra," the 3rd human, a lanky man with a sniper's markings, said. The leader exhaled sharply. "Yeah, well, leaving him here's a death sentence." Cale's eyes narrowed. "You help. Or shoot you." Still deciding. The man smirked, then stiffened as a new sound cut through the wind, the whine of Zenther engines. "Shit. They're here." Cale didn't wait. He lunged to his feet, ready to run. A hand clamped onto his wrist. "You wanna live, kid? Then move your ass." The human yanked him forward, and Cale stumbled after them, his instincts screaming. Trust was death. But so was staying. Behind them, the first Zenther scout emerged over the ridge, its armored form silhouetted against the blood-red sky. "Run!" And so he did. The humans moved like shadows through the ruins, their boots crunching over shattered glass and spent shell casings. Cale kept close to the one called Rhett, his wound a dull throb with every step. The scavengers didn't speak much, just sharp hand signals and clipped words. Efficient. Wary. The woman, Lyra, glanced back at him. "Keep up or get left behind." He bared his teeth but said nothing. Weakness invited betrayal. They reached a half-collapsed bunker, its reinforced door pried open long ago. Rhett tapped a code into a rusted keypad, and the entrance groaned inward. Inside, the air smelled of stale rations and burnt circuitry. Dim emergency lights flickered overhead. Jax, the sniper, tossed his pack onto a makeshift table. Home sweet hell. Cale hovered near the entrance, muscles tense. Trap. If they turned on him now. Relax, kid. If we wanted you dead, you'd be cooling with the other corpses back there. Rhett pulled off his helmet, revealing a face lined with scars and stubble. He tossed a medkit to Lyra. Patch him up. She caught it without looking. Since when are we running a charity? Since the Zenther decided this rock wasn't dead enough. Rhett grabbed a canteen, took a swig, then offered it to Kale. Drink. Kale eyed the container. Poison? A test? Rhett rolled his eyes. It's water, not acid. Slowly, Kale took it. The liquid was warm, metallic, but it soothed his parched throat. He handed it back with a stiff nod. Lyra motioned for him to sit on a crate. Let's see the damage. He hesitated, then peeled back the torn fabric of his tunic. The gash was angry, crusted with dirt. She whistled. You've been walking around with this? It is nothing. Yeah? Tell that to the infection, that'll rot you from the inside out. She uncapped a disinfectant spray. This'll sting. He barely flinched as the antiseptic bit into the wound. His people endured worse. Jax leaned against the wall, arms crossed. So what's a Zarathian pup doing out here alone? Kale's claws flexed. Not your concern. Everything's our concern now, kid. Zenther don't hunt strays without reason. Rhett shot Jax a look, then crouched in front of Kale. You're the last one, aren't you? The question hung in the air like a blade. Kale met his gaze. Does it matter? Yeah. It does. Rhett exhaled. Because if they're wiping out your kind, they won't stop until they finish the job. Silence settled over the bunker. The hum of distant engines vibrated through the walls. Lyra finished sealing the wound with synth flesh. There. Try not to get stabbed again. Kale flexed his side. The pain had dulled. Why help me? Rhett stood, stretching his shoulders. Let's call it professional courtesy. Humans have no stake in this war. War's over, kid. This is just cleanup. Jax pushed off the wall. And we're the scraps they forgot to sweep away. Lyra tossed the empty medkit aside. Point is, Zenther don't like loose ends. And right now, you're the loosest one on this rock. Kale's jaw tightened. Then I should go. Sure. Walk right into their patrols. Rhett grabbed a ration bar, tore it open with his teeth. Smart plan. What do you suggest? First, you eat. He tossed the other half of the bar to Kale. Then we figure out how to get you off this rock before the Zenther turn it into a crater. Kale stared at the offering. Food was leverage, a chain. But hunger won. He bit into the bar, chalky, flavorless, and forced it down. Jax smirked. Look at that. He's learning. Lyra checked her pistol. We've got maybe 6 hours before they grid search this sector. Rhett nodded. Then we move at nightfall. There's an old Union relay station west of here. If we can get it online, we might be able to call in a favor. Kale frowned. The Union abandoned you. Yeah, well, not everyone's as loyal as your people. Rhett's grin was sharp. But I've got a few contacts who don't ask questions. The bunker's lights flickered again. Somewhere above, a ship screamed across the sky. Kale watched the humans prep their gear, checking weapons, stuffing supplies into packs. No hesitation. No fear. Just action. He stood. I can fight. Rhett slung his rifle over his shoulder. Good. Because you're gonna need to. Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the ruins in shades of blood and shadow. The hunt was on. The relay station loomed in the distance, its broken comm array jutting from the ruins like a fractured bone. Kale crouched beside Rhett behind a collapsed transport, the cold night air biting at his skin. Patrols, Lyra whispered, adjusting the magnification on her scope. Jax's voice crackled through their earpieces. 2 Zenther scouts circling the perimeter. No heavy armor yet. Rhett exhaled slowly. We go in quiet. Take them out fast. Kale flexed his claws. Let me. The humans exchanged glances. Lyra smirked. He's eager. Or stupid, Jax muttered. Rhett studied Kale for a moment, then nodded. Fine. But if you screw this up, we all die. Kale didn't answer. He just melted into the shadows. The first scout never saw him coming. Kale dropped from a shattered overpass, driving his claws through the gap in the Zenther's armor at the neck. The alien gurgled, collapsing before it could raise its weapon. He caught the body, lowering it silently to the ground. The second scout turned at the sound of scraping metal. Kale was already moving. He lunged, slamming the Zenther against the wall. A brutal twist snapped its spine. The alien's weapon clattered to the ground. Kale caught it before the noise could echo. Clear, he hissed into his comm. Rhett's voice held grudging respect. Damn. They moved quickly after that. Lyra bypassed the station's security with a stolen Zenther code cylinder, while Jax kept watch. The interior smelled of ozone and decay, the flickering emergency lights casting long shadows. Rhett knelt by the main console, ripping open an access panel. This thing's barely functional. Just need one transmission, Lyra said, splicing wires. Kale stood guard at the door, listening to the night. Something felt off. You said there were only 2 scouts, he whispered. Jax frowned. There were. A low hum vibrated through the floor. Kale's blood turned to ice. They're coming. Rhett didn't look up from the console. How many? More than 2. The first explosion rocked the station. Dust rained from the ceiling as the humans scrambled. Someone sold us out! Lyra shouted, grabbing her rifle. Jax slammed fresh rounds into his weapon. No shit. Another blast, closer this time. The walls shuddered. Rhett typed furiously. 30 seconds. Kale peered through a crack in the door. At least a dozen Zenther troopers advanced across the courtyard, their plasma rifles glowing in the dark. Behind them loomed a massive armored figure, Commander Zool himself. They have us surrounded, Kale reported. Lyra cursed. Plan B. Rhett yanked a drive from the console. Plan B is we don't die today. He tossed a grenade to Kale. Make it count. Kale caught it, feeling the weight in his palm. Distraction. Biggest damn one you can manage. Another explosion. The door buckled. Kale didn't hesitate. He kicked it open and charged. Chaos erupted. Plasma fire lit up the night as Kale zigzagged between cover, drawing their fire. He rolled behind a burning wreck, primed the grenade, and hurled it at an approaching hover tank. The explosion sent Zenther troopers flying. Now! Rhett's voice shouted in his earpiece. Kale turned just in time to see the humans burst from the station's rear exit, laying down covering fire. He sprinted toward them, rounds sizzling past his ears. Something hot seared across his shoulder. He stumbled but kept running. Jax grabbed his arm, yanking him behind a collapsed wall. Nice moves, kid. Kale hissed in pain. They're still coming. Rhett checked the drive in his hand. Got what we needed. Time to disappear. Lyra pointed to a drainage tunnel. That way. Leads to the old mining tunnels. Another plasma round struck the wall above them. Commander Zool's amplified voice boomed across the battlefield. Give me the Zorathian, and the humans may yet live. Rhett spat blood. Yeah. That's not happening. Kale looked at the humans, at their determined faces, their unwavering stance. They barely knew him. Yet here they stood, ready to die for him. Something unfamiliar tightened in his chest. Go, he growled. I'll hold them off. Rhett grabbed his arm. Like hell. We finish this together. The Zenther advanced. Kale bared his fangs. So be it. The mining tunnels reeked of damp metal and scorched earth, their jagged walls closing in like the jaws of some great beast. Kale kept one hand pressed to his bleeding shoulder as they ran, the humans' boots splashing through stagnant puddles. Behind them, the echoes of Zenther pursuit grew louder. Left here. Lyra shouted, veering into a narrower passage. Rhett grabbed Kale's uninjured arm, hauling him around the corner just as a plasma bolt seared past. The shot melted stone where his head had been. Jax spun, firing 3 quick rounds down the tunnel. They're hurting us. Kale tasted blood in his mouth. This is a dead end. The passage terminated at a rusted elevator shaft, its cables long severed. Below, only darkness. Lyra cursed, kicking the grate. Now what? Rhett's eyes locked onto a maintenance panel. Override the gravity dampeners. Jax blinked. You wanna what now? Trust me. Rhett pried open the panel, exposing fried circuitry. Sparks flew as he crossed wires. The human stolen Zenther tech would be good for one thing, chaos. A new sound cut through the tunnels, the whine of powered armor. Commander Zool himself was coming. Kale flexed his claws. We make our stand here. Lyra slapped a fresh power cell into her rifle. Hell of a last stand. Not last. Rhett yanked 2 wires together. The entire tunnel shuddered as gravity fluctuated. Jump! They leapt into the shaft just as the dampeners failed. Kale's stomach lurched as they floated downward, the world turning weightless. Above, Zenther troopers stumbled into the shaft, their heavy armor suddenly an anchor. They crashed downward, screaming. Jax hooped, spinning midair. That's what I call. The dampeners reactivated. They fell. Kale hit the ground rolling, his injured shoulder screaming. Around him, the humans groaned but moved. Rhett was already up, scanning their new surroundings. Old reactor chamber. The cavernous space hummed with residual energy, dead machinery looming like skeletal giant. In the center stood a dormant fusion core, its casing cracked. Lyra whistled. That thing's one spark away from blowing this whole mountain to hell, Jax finished. I like it. Boots clanged on metal above. More Zenther. Too many. Rhett tossed Kale a plasma charge. Know how to rig a reactor to overload? Kale caught it. You're insane. Yeah. Rhett grinned, all teeth. Welcome to humanity. They split up. Jax and Lyra laid down covering fire from opposite catwalks while Rhett and Kale worked on the core. Kale pried open the access hatch. This will kill us too. Rhett didn't look up from rewiring the ignition sequence. Only if we're slow. A plasma bolt struck the console beside them. Commander Zool emerged on the far walkway, his armor scorched but intact. Pathetic creatures. You delay the inevitable. Kale snarled, but Rhett grabbed his arm. Focus. 10 seconds once I start this. The reactor hummed to life, its core glowing brighter. Too bright. Zool's voice boomed. Kill them. Kale moved. He leapt across the gap between walkways, claws extended. Zool barely raised his arm in time. Kale's strike gouged deep into the armor's joints. The commander roared, backhanding him hard enough to crack ribs. Kale tasted blood but didn't stop. He ducked under Zool's next swing, driving his claws upward into the helmet's weak point. The visor shattered. Zool staggered back, just as the reactor's warning sirens blared. Kale. Now. Rhett's voice cut through the chaos. Kale kicked off Zool's chest, sprinting for the exit. The humans were already running, Jax dragging a limping Lyra. Behind them, the reactor pulsed like a dying star. They hit the access tunnel as the world turned white. The explosion lifted them off their feet, hurling them into the outer tunnels. Kale's ears rang as he tumbled across rough stone. Smoke billowed from the shattered entrance behind them. No Zenther followed. Lyra coughed blood. Did we? Jax groaned, rolling onto his back. Yeah. We did. Rhett sat up slowly, his face streaked with soot. He met Kale's eyes and grinned. Told you we wouldn't die. Kale looked at the rubble, at the humans battered but alive. The last of his kind, and yet not alone. He touched 2 fingers to his brow in the Zorathian salute of respect. You stayed. Rhett clasped his shoulder. That's what humans do, kid. Somewhere above, through the shattered rock, the first light of dawn filtered down.